I have been in Vancouver a lot recently, talking to a lot of different groups, business groups, local groups, constituencies, politicians, chambers, environmental organizations, First Nations organizations, and communities, obviously. And I always come away from every one of those conversations having learned something. For the first time in decades, U.S. oil production is going up. That results in net imports into the U.S. going down. Canada will continue to take the major slice of that imports. We've got free trade agreements. We're a friendly democratic partner, and will continue to be a primary supplier, but the market isn't growing. The market's shrinking. So where's the market? You look to the bottom right, and that's just China. They're going to double their imports of crude oil over the course of the next 10 years, from 5 million barrels a day to 10 million barrels a day. And we aren't the only ones, we're not the only market that's chasing that. The Venezuelans, the North Africans, the Saudis, the Russians are all chasing that same market. And that market will be filled. The Chinese will import the crude that they ultimately need in order to improve their economic state. What's our role going to be in that, I suppose? Are we going to seize on that opportunity, or are we going to let others? The oil will move to China, it will be burned, it will be refined. Whose is it going to be is the question. There's been no more time in the pipeline sector's existence that I can remember, maybe back in the 50s, when pipeline infrastructure was really first being built. But no more time where it's been more of a lightning rod, where it's been more exposed to debate and conversation, and you know, rightfully so. That's the role we play. We connect supply to markets. That process to undertake that work is very public, it's very transparent, it's very linear, it crosses and touches many people. An oil sands project goes through its necessary federal and provincial purview and reviews really within the province of Alberta. A project of mine that's connecting that to a market goes through a much more significant, a much lengthier, and a much more involved public conversation just because of the number of people and communities that it touches. Pipeline performance, pipeline safety, like I said, it's the thing that keeps us awake. It's the thing we pursue to improve every day. I'm not aware of a company that's more transparent with its performance, with its objectives, with its budgets, with its targets, with its safety performance than Kinder Morgan. And that transparency translates into what we're trying to do with the project. And we post openly on our website for the project past incidents on the pipeline. So you can go into our website and you can see every incident that's occurred on the pipeline since it was built in 1953. Where did they occur? What were the volumes? What were the learnings? And what were the regulatory, conclusions from that? Transparency is something that we believe in. No development will exist without commercial support. We've got that loud and clear for our project. I know that doesn't satisfy many of the concerns and many of the interests with the project. However, we have loud and clear support of our customers and producers that they want us to do everything we can to build this pipeline project and enable them to access markets. I think what you need to do is you look at the component parts of a national energy strategy. They are effective, efficient, trustworthy regulation. They are, national energy strategy is served by balancing the energy and the environmental needs, by having robust, agreed to environmental targets and objectives, by having market access as a priority, by having really a plan for what the wealth and the riches from that market access are going to be contributing to, and I spoke about that earlier. So I think there's a vast number of things that if we tackle them all individually, they form the basis of what I call a national energy strategy. There's a bunch of tactics to pursue. One of them clearly is provincial alignment. Provincial alignment around what it is we're trying to do as a nation, not just with oil, but with every natural resource that this country is producing. Oil happens to be the lightning rod today. I don't mean predictable to suggest, show me the 6 boxes I need to tick and therefore I'll get my approval. I mean as predictable in terms of what things need to be considered, what public interest definition is trying to be satisfied, who has the rightful place to participate and contribute to those conversations, and how inclusive are we in expressing views through regulatory processes. Ensure that they're efficient, ensure that they're timely, ensure that there's time horizons through which we can accomplish what we're seeking. I've talked on this subject many, many times, and I've got many deep-rooted and respectful relationships with First Nations communities, particularly here in British Columbia, and I would call half of the chiefs of the communities that we touch friends. We talk on a regular basis. I'm meeting with a chief and council of a band this evening in Calgary. And but traditional approaches have to be set aside. We need to look for new solutions, new ways. There is a whole different suite, I think, of visionary goals and objectives we need to try and strive for. I've shared a couple of times a vision that I have. I've shared it internally, I've shared it externally from the company, a vision that I have, for example, and it's only an example, that we established with our pipeline expansion project, a First Nations, first responder cooperative effort, that all along our pipeline we contract with, we train, we provide equipment for First Nations communities to be the eyes and the ears on the ground of what's happening in streams and rivers and watercourses and mudslide areas and rock formations, what's happening there that might have an impact on my right-of-way or my pipeline, and build a relationship cooperatively that provides very mutual benefit. Localized benefits. All issues are local. If I've learned one thing in the last 6 months, that's what I've learned. All issues are local. All politics are local, frankly. Finding ways to communicate with, in an effective way, local interests and local concerns is one of the most challenging, yet it's one of the most fruitful pursuits to be chasing, because you really find nuggets of great ideas at the local level that you can harvest and improve upon. You find that the issues are different in every community you go to, and I'm just not talking about municipalities or the Lower Mainland. I'm talking about First Nations communities. I'm talking about territories. I'm talking about the Fraser Valley regions, regional districts, and individual communities. What are the concerns and interests in those communities, and how can we best design a project that respects those, that provides benefits to, and that manages the risk? We just finished conducting 37 open houses. We called them an open house, because that's what they were. We invited people in to learn and talk about the project. We were criticized by some who viewed them as a public relations exercise and a forum for us to just get our message out. But I can tell you, I've got a binder on my desk of hundreds of pages of learnings, of ideas, of thoughts that came out of those sessions. What did we hear from those few thousand people that came to those sessions? How did we translate what people were asking or saying or observing into something that the team could give me, that I could read and think about how we translate some of that into our next phases of work? Very often, the debate goes far beyond the pipe. We've been operating the Trans Mountain Pipeline system for 60 years. We've moved over well over 900 tankers safely through Port Metro Vancouver. We haven't moved them. We've put the oil on an industry that has moved them through the port and the chamber shipping, and Captain Brown will talk about their role later. But we've been operating that pipeline safely for 60 years, and we continue to. The issues we hear about more often than not are upstream and downstream of that pipe. There are upstream concerns about oil sands and what it means for us as a country and as a globe. They're around issues of marine safety. It's not lost on us that the issues that we are stimulating the conversation about are far beyond the right-of-way that we seek to protect. And we haven't dodged that. We haven't dodged those conversations, and we're not going to. We're going to bring people into those debates and conversations that are well prepared and well versed in responding to the public concerns and the local concerns. I'm not a tanker captain, and I never will be, but I know people who are, and we'll get those people in front of people who have questions about that industry and about its safety.